are talking Masquerade. This one written and directed by Shane Dax Taylor and stars Bella Thorne, one-time Disney darling, now most notable I would say for her work in OnlyFans. Now the director here is trying to be very, very clever and subvert your expectations. That phrase may send chills down your spine, and I think quite often comes back and bites the filmmakers, as I think is going to be the case with this film. Now before we go any further, I have to say this is going to be a spoiler review. I've actually tried to film this review in a non-spoiler way, and it is nigh on impossible because I cannot talk about my critiques without kind of giving stuff away. So it will be spoiler filled. If you don't want to kind of know anything about it, watch the film. Just know the director here is trying to be clever, and what you're seeing may not necessarily be indicative of what's actually kind of going on. That's all I'll say. So last warning, this is now going to be spoilers. Now, before we get really into that, the broad strokes of the plot here is that we have a home invasion kind of going on. We have two masked intruders with fencing masks on, which somehow change their voice, but whatever. And they're trying to steal some art from this large, kind of very kind of stately manor style home. And within this house, we have a young girl and the young girl's babysitter. Things take a turn for the worse. The babysitter is murdered. And we also have scenes with Bella Thorne, who is seemingly scheming something. And there's this kind of rich people's party, and there's this couple which are art dealers. And she's kind of like coerced her way into kind of giving them a lift home. And, well, again, these things may not be entirely unrelated. Okay, again, spoilers are coming here. So, this film is so concerned with misleading the audience, I think it really damages the film as a whole. Because to be honest with you, it's not a badly shot film. The director clearly has a definite vision about what he is wanting to do. And he is making every effort here by the way he's editing, the way he's filming, to try and fool the audience into what's going on. So now I'm going to go through the plot here, and then we can kind of talk about the movie properly. So we have ultimately two timelines. When you're watching this movie, it is not revealed until the very end. There's actually two timelines here. The little girl in the kind of the scenes with the home invasion is actually Bella Thorne's character as a young child, and the people who are doing the home invasion are or at least the guy is the kind of like one of the these people she's driving home, and she's actually now wanting to get revenge. But it's filmed in a way that makes it look like this is happening in a kind of linear fashion, like Bella Thorne is actually involved in the kind of the original breaking that we're kind of seeing. Now the movie is so concerned and so trying to deliberately mislead you here. Until the very end, it makes it for a very dark, until we kind of get that reveal, which happens, as I say, probably late in the third act. It comes across as a very tedious home invasion movie. It comes across like a kind of made-for-TV one. And I think that the twist is interesting, but the problem is, it's so deliberately hidden here. I don't know if it will hold people's interest until that late in the movie. Because the scenes that we get until then, that they're edited in a way that, you know, we have a sound that's happening in the kind of the flashback sequences in the past, and then you'll have like Bella Thorne like react to it like it's happening concurrently, and it isn't. It's just edited in a way that's very, very kind of misleading. And it's not until the very, very end really that we kind of get that reveal that we learn that these are actually two different time zones, and the character of Bella Thorne is both the adult in the kind of the driving home sequences, and the young girl, you know, in the kind of the flashback sequences, and they're one and the same. So there you go. That's the kind of the plot there. Again, this movie is impossible to kind of critique on a kind of a non-spoiler level. However, I do think the idea is solid. I just don't think the execution is good. The movie, I think, should give you an idea about what's going on, but it's filmed in a way that's so deliberately misleading that I don't think it's going to help the film. I just think it looks like a dull kind of like home invasion movie. It's not helped by, I think, the sequences with the kind of the home invasion scenes, the original home invasion scenes. The burglars seem to be inept. I mean, they just take ages to kind of do what they want. There's endless kind of like shuffling around of tools. There's kind of looking for the young girl, and if she's hidden away, they just need to get the art. There's no real reason for them to take all of this time. There's no real reason for them to kind of like commit murder. To be quite honest with you, it's just kind of like to add the kind of the drama. So. Unfortunately, this film, it's kind of ineptitude after ineptitude in regards to the part of our characters. And when we have our kind of like our present day scenes, if you like, Bella Thorne's character, when she is essentially now going back and trying to rob this couple, she wears like the same kind of costume that they were wearing. But at this point, the movie hasn't let us know that, you know, it's kind of like two different time frames. And the problem is the character of the guy who is the original burglar, now the kind of like this, you know, quote unquote art dealer, he would recognise the fact that he's being robbed in the same costume that he robbed with, but it's not acknowledged because at that point the penny hasn't dropped in the story. So it doesn't make sense that he wouldn't kind of say, hang on a second, you know, I know what's kind of going on here, or something like that. The movie is just so concerned with trying to keep this secret and have this twist to the very end. I think it absolutely damages the film. I think the performances are okay, to be honest, but it's the casting isn't very good. Like the little girl looks nothing like an adult kind of Bella Thorne. You know, it doesn't really help itself. I think if you're going to have a twist, you have to have, I mean, it's like this real left-turn twist, and you have to kind of seed it a little thing. And I don't think this movie seeds it. In fact, it does the opposite of deliberately trying to kind of mislead you, which I think, you know, when you're watching this, until you get to the kind of the last 10 minutes or so, when it's all revealed, it just kind of appears boring. The plan seems inept. The characters seem poorly written, and to be honest with you, they still are poorly written, even when you kind of know what is going on. The characters don't really seem like they would do this. It seems they're making more trouble than it's actually worth. You know, breaking in and stealing something is one thing, but taking so long to do it and then murdering someone, or multiple people in fact, really seems like you know, a stupid thing to do, and then kind of, you know, leaving a witness in the young girl who the guy just assumes she's going to die because she's bleeding and stuff like that. It's just really silly, and I think this movie had a good idea, but it's handled in a way that I think is more concerned with being clever than being sensible, than being kind of like believable. And I think this is not a particularly well thought out film. The concept is good, but I think the execution here is it's not poorly made. It's actually a relatively well made film, like I have to say. It's well shot and things like that, but it's just the narrative here is bad. This screams of a movie that needed a producer to say, no, let's kind of change this up a little bit. This to me seems like no one's pushed back on the Shane Dax Taylor here and kind of gone, maybe we should kind of like make it a little bit more accessible. This seems to be like his vision, that's the way he wants to do, and everyone else speak down to. But I think the end result is the movie seems dull, even though it has a clever twist. It's presented in a way that is ultimately unsatisfying. I don't give this one a 4 out of 10. It's not a badly made film exactly, but it's just narratively misjudged, I feel, and I don't think it's anything spectacular at the end of the day, and there are some dumbass kind of character decisions here. 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think? Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.